Yes, it is the Print Factory on an early morning. We got Thursday morning Print Factory. We got Big T in the house this morning. JSU obviously running this shit. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel. I know we don't got a ton of people watching live, but if you're watching this on replay, you still can hit that like button for us and subscribe to that YouTube channel. Promo code right now, Rumpier Sports, NBA15, get you 15% off your first month's payment over at Rumpier Sports. Tony, we got to talk a little Showdown football here this early morning.
Yeah, and Kurt called me out. I seen a message. He was laughing. He thought someone had the wrong tweet out or something. Like it says there's a show at 7:30. Then he did his little laugh, like he thought he was so funny, like someone made an error. And I said, "What's funny about that? We're going on, and we're gonna get a show done." And then he tried to call the bluff, like, "Oh, 7:30, that's my time to come on." I said, "Well, we need one more because it's early. Whistles isn't coming on this week this early. So come on, big boy. Come on, Kurt. I want you on there with us. Showdown, blah, blah, blah." And then, I'm conveniently doing pull-ups off the roof or something. So
yeah, Kurt's too busy
it
looking
wasn't
at
your
his
music,
pectoral
buddy.
muscles in the mirror right now. I know what Kurt's doing exactly. He's staring at himself. He's doing a few reps. You know what I mean? He's looking at himself. Oh, I gotta work on this when I go to the gym later. So that's what Kurt's doing. I already know
You think
what
he's
he's
got
doing.
his Bushwhacker shirt on though?
Oh, he should. I'd wear that shit all the time. But all right, we digress. We got football to talk about here. Tampa.
If he went live from the treadmill, I would like right now, Kurt. I'm calling your bluff right now, Kurt. From wherever you're at, get on your phone, get on the StreamYard. Let's prove it. Prove where you're at right now. We need it. This is the perfect show to prove yourself,
I
Kurt.
believe he's on the treadmill right now. You don't believe he's on the treadmill right now?
If he is, then come on with the camera. Show us here. We need one pick, Kurt. You don't got to stay on. If you're on the work bench, that too. One pick. We need your play of the day from wherever you're at, and then you can get right back out.
I mean,
we're calling him out right now. That's the call out. No matter where he's at, workbench, taking a dump, working out, doing pull-ups, running around the house. That's the call out. Wherever you're at, Kurt.
All right. Well, there's the open invite for Kurt to show up with his
now where
biceps.
He pretends like he's not watching anymore, and he hides and acts like he left.
I mean, I don't think he'll hide. I think he'll come on if he's actually working out. Like I could see him coming on, unless there's like a ton of people around him or something like that.
No ton of people. Well, maybe there is a lot of people.
You'd be surprised how many people go work out.
No, I took it back after I said it because I know like a lot of my family will do stuff like that.
Yeah. You'd be surprised how many people.
Not the Uncle T side, the other side. The Uncle T side's like me. We're not going nowhere working out, but my mom's side does enjoy working out before work and stuff.
I could see mom getting in a workout set before she
is like you for sure. She is in workout class at like 5, like in their first thing.
No, I mean that's those are the people that go. Honestly, like the moms, that before they go do whatever they got to do for the rest of the day, they like to get their workout session and move on. So yeah, they're the best. Honestly, they're the best. They're the good people. If you work in any type of gym setting, you'd know that. But all right, Tony, we'll wait for Kurt to come on and show off his biceps a little bit. Maybe flex on us because that's probably what he would do because he does have some biceps. He's got some arms, so we'll wait for that. But until then, we got to talk a Tampa Bay Buffalo showdown slate here. And Tampa Bay, I know, is not your favorite team. This game is interesting. Buffalo's coming off, honestly, 2 really bad games because they didn't lose to the Giants, but that was an awful performance by them. And then they lose to the Patriots, who conveniently we were making fun of, saying how they have like the least talent in football. So they lose to the Giants, who look like one of the worst teams in football, or almost lose to the Giants. And then they lose to the Patriots, who we think is at least from a talent perspective, one of the worst teams in football. What are we doing here with the Bills, 8.5-point favorites against Tampa?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a pretty perfect storm for Buffalo. So let's play we're at the point of the season where I start to play the flow chart game a little bit, the schedule game a little bit. and let that impact my decisions. But like, look at this Bucs schedule. And I know I'm a Bucs hater, and it is what it is. We do shows all year, every slate. Of course, you're going to get some biases, team you like and don't like. I just don't think Tampa's any good. But week 1, they beat the Vikings by 3. The Vikings have proven to be what they are. So fine game, though. On the road, they win. Then they beat the Bears by 10 at home. Bears suck. They get beat by 2 touchdowns to the Eagles. They beat the Saints pretty handily, 26-9. But another game that all these games are like somewhat ugly. Like, the most points in any game this year is 44 in the Bears game, but 37 in the Vikings game. It was 20-6 versus the Lions 2 weeks ago, 16-13 last week, Falcons. So they lost the last 2 weeks at home to 2. The Lions are a decent team, good team. Falcons are a decent team, but both weeks at home scored a combined 13 points. Now they get a Bills team, like you said, that looked terrible in prime time against the Giants, looked terrible last week. And then now they're at home versus a Bucs team that they want to get an early dub here and then get moving to the basically like another bye week almost. When you get a Thursday win, you can be off all weekend and then not have to play on Sunday, obviously. So I think the Bills make a statement tonight. I'm a little spooked out from our Saber Sim because, man, I love Saber Sim right now. I talk it up every time, but even JSU is using it for NBA now. We were talking a little before the show. I just love what they're doing with the product, the simulations to mix with what we already do, our own feelings and our own biases. So I'm just a little spooked out because on SaberSim it says 27-25 Bills. I'm sure that will update throughout the day, like JSU said before, or it might have been before the show, but I'm sure it'll update. But even just having it up there spooks me a little bit because the team totals on Draftkings and FanDuel, which you can bet, which I like using more than implied lines just because people can bet them. But 27 is still the team total. 25 or 16.5 though is the what they have on the Bucs. So like a full touchdown less. Yes, here he comes. I see this guy calling the bluff. Yes.
What up?
I don't
They
think
were on the treadmill.
I just now came out, so there's a lot of people you can't hear me. But funny story. Can I tell it real quick?
What is hanging right there? What is that thing?
Little angel. My grandpa gave it to me, so I don't wreck and kill myself. Anyways, okay. So first of all, before I tell this story, I don't discriminate against anybody. Everyone's cool. I don't care what you do.
Cool. If you're about to say this, you're literally about to do exactly what you just said.
I'm really not, because I don't think this is bad. So I was in the gym, coming out my locker to get my key to come out here. Turn around and I see a female. I'm like, oh my God, I'm in the female locker room. I've been known to do this accidentally. I'm like, oh my God, I saw a female. It is someone who did the whole thing. I was like, oh, thank God. I was like, oh, shoot. So I'm not in the wrong locker room. Like, good morning. Have a good workout.
It was like one of the old dudes in the gym that drops the bag on the, except opposite in the mirror.
I think I'd rather have this than that. So, yeah. I'd much rather have this.
Powdering up right in front of it.
I will say it is scary if you think like you're in the wrong locker room. I will say that is
We've all done it a time or two when you're in the wrong one.
It's much
I haven't done it.
But you're right. And this person just went through the transition, so I'm not an idiot.
You need to get in shape so you can beat someone on the court this year at the freaking thing.
I mean, that don't look like he's in shape, Tony.
I'm doing biceps today, JSU, so chill out, okay? You know how they
I'll still never forget that first time he walked into my backyard, and the first thing he says is he just points at me and just wanted a shot on the court with his freaking. I want him.
He wanted to take out the guy who owns the court. That's what he wanted.
I respected it too, and he was serious.
That actually would have been a fun game. I can't shoot. Like, I can't shoot. And I especially doesn't benefit me from the 3 dribble rule. You can't get around you. Like, you actually move laterally. For a big guy, you move laterally pretty damn good. I'll say that.
I mean,
okay,
he's also a big guy, so there's a lot to move around.
He's always got to be mean, Kurt. He couldn't let you say something nice. He's got to jump back in and be mean to me. It's early in the morning. He could have let me feel good throughout the day. Like, man, he gave me a compliment.
No, you made fun of my camera yesterday. You made fun of my chair the day before.
You're kidding.
You're on the list, my friend. Okay, I am not pulling punches against you right now. Like, it's not gonna happen. I'm sorry, but yeah, what are you gonna do?
I give 2 thoughts. I'm gonna get back to the workout and let you all get on to it. Why do I
What
have
in the
balloons?
world is happening?
That's definitely not me. But okay, so 2 thoughts here.
How do you get something like that to happen? What was that?
Swear to God,
What
that
is
was.
going on?
What do you mean that wasn't you? Who was it then?
I'm not touching anything.
No way JSU knows how to do that, and I don't know how to do that. That was definitely you.
It was not me.
It was definitely not me.
I want to know how you could do that.
Yeah, I'm curious too now. How did he do that?
Not even my birthday.
I couldn't do that if I wanted to do that, so
All right,
I know it wasn't
Give
me.
your takes, Kurt.
Okay.
Give your takes.
I guess it's 2.5 thoughts. I love Dalton Kincaid today. There's a chance he does. I don't think he really does, but if he does play that more of a tight end role in some of Dawson Knox snap, if we see an 8% snap share from Kincaid,
Hopefully your second take's better than your first one. Give us a better one with the second one.
What if I told you, now look, I love Mike Evans. What if I told you that Mike Evans and Chris Godwin have the same amount of targets on the year? And they're like 2.2K difference. Same amount of targets.
I believe it.
Now the ADOT's a lot different, obviously.
What if I told you one of them scores touchdowns and the other doesn't?
Much more different equity, but the price difference and stuff, I think, and apparently what I saw from the beat writers, he is healthy, like the next fine. Last thought, if they don't, I don't think they trust this Wilson guy to play tight end. Maybe you'll like this one. Maybe some Reggie Gillum playing the tight end snaps. 200 Reggie Gillum. We saw him catch that touchdown last year. But yeah, so if you need a 200 punt, that's about all I have. I don't know why you don't like Dalton Kincaid. I mean, we're good. Like our linebackers are awesome.
He's been my boy all year. He doesn't do nothing.
Oh, yeah, but so 2 tight ends are out for the Bills. We'll get into it a little bit. Yeah. I think we'll be able to talk Tony into it.
Have a good day.
All right, Kurt. Go get those reps in, buddy.
How did he get those balloons going?
I still want to know how he got the balloon. We're going to have the Prez show us. We're going to have the Prez show us how to do it. He definitely knows how to do it. Yeah, me too. But all right, let's run down the players here. And like he said, I'll just throw out the few, guys that are injured or questionable and stuff like that. And Baker Mayfield and Chris Godwin are questionable. They look like they're going to play. Guys that are out, Dawson Knox out, Damian Harris on IR, Quinn Morris, the backup or third string, I guess, Buffalo tight end out as well. So that's 2 tight ends out for Buffalo. That's why Kurt was saying maybe they play more fullback with Reggie Gilliam a little bit if they don't trust this Wilson kid as much to play backup, but he is 200. So both guys are 200 actually. So those are just some of the, guys that are out. Chase Edmonds was just activated from IR, so he'll be back for this game. He's 200. So Tony, we got a lot to kind of talk about here. We'll go through kind of those injuries and stuff and how it impacts the team. But let's start at the top here. And traditionally on Josh Allen's showdown slates, Josh Allen is, for sure like the top tier captain. But we've seen in recent showdowns, these quarterback captains that are so expensive, they're just getting outdone by the wide receiver ones or the cheap guys. I know you're a standstill with the quarterbacks. What are you doing with like Josh Allen, Steph Diggs, Mike Evans, Baker Mayfield, who are clearly like the top 4 guys pricing wise?
Yeah, I mean, for me tonight, just how I feel about the Bills and Tampa, I'll have a hard time having Tampa captains. But if I was going Tampa, just to clear that out of the way before I go to Buffalo, it wouldn't be Baker. I mean, if I was playing Baker, it would be 2 receivers. His price tag is in that cheap range again that I keep talking about, where like the guys like I didn't like Cousins because he was over 10K, I believe, and some of those quarterbacks, like when they get up 10, 11K, I think it's tougher. Down at like 8, 9K, I think Baker's 9,200. It makes more of a case. My issue is I just don't think, like I talked about the scores with Tampa, where, I mean, they haven't scored at all year. Every game has been under, basically, if not all have been under. Maybe the one that was 44 went over. But, I mean, if they're not scoring points, it's even tougher because if you're a quarterback, optimally, you're going to want to hit like 3 or 4 touchdowns to 3 or 4 different people. and outscore them that way. And I just don't see it with this team. I just don't. It doesn't come together. So it would be Mike Evans. Even Godwin just doesn't really show that much of a ceiling to me for captain wise. Rashad White's expensive. I mean, literally the only way I would go to a Tampa captain is Mike Evans, just because. I mean, he's always got a ceiling. Even if you don't like Tampa, he's got a ceiling. The man has nuked as many slates. I bet if we looked up like how many dead optimals in the last like 10 years, he would be one of the top receivers for sure, because he either nukes or he doesn't do that much. And that's good in Showdown. So Buffalo, that would be just him for me. Tampa would be just him for me. And then Buffalo, I think you can obviously go a lot deeper. I mean, Diggs and Allen, clearly. I mean, Allen's different than other quarterbacks too, just because he can run, although he's not doing it as much this year, which is smart for Buffalo. I mean, you can't run these guys all season because they won't make it. But his price is high, and I think you can definitely go to these other guys. So, I mean, Diggs, obviously, we all love Diggs when it's a Buffalo showdown. So, not saying anything that everyone doesn't already know. Diggs will probably be right there with Allen for the two top guys. But then you got I'm not playing James Cook for sure in the captain. I just don't love his workload. He's good play though, obviously in flex. And then Gabe. So Gabe would be another option for me at captain. 6,800. We've seen upside tons of times in his career. Dalton Kincaid, like you guys talked about, where other tight ends are out. I've always liked him for pass catcher when he's actually involved. Can definitely go to him. And then if you think it's a close game like Saber does, you can even get in the mix with some of these cheaper guys. I mean, Deontay Hardy's always been a showdown favorite of mine. The running backs, if you wanted to, I'm not going to include the running backs just because. But Latavius Murray has touchdown equity. He's cheap. I mean, maybe you think he scores 2 or 3 times tonight. It's a Thursday game. A lot of times these teams just want to get a win and get out of there and move on to the next week. So if you think it's that type of game, I think they make a statement tonight and really pound this team. So I won't like those type of teams as much. And on top of it, we just have so many cheap-ish options with the way this game sets up that I can see myself just going Allen and Diggs tonight and just knowing that I think you have a massive floor and massive ceiling. And I don't need Tampa guys in my personal script. So I will be almost entirely Allen Diggs captain with a little bit of Gabe and Dalton Kincaid is my plan.
So yeah, the guys that I'm looking at, and I think James Cook is an interesting talking point with Lat Murray, because on these type of slates where we've already seen them almost split the work in some games, it does worry me that he's 8,600, and I do think on a short week they're going to split. It really seems like to me, Tony, they're being very careful with how much work they give James Cook early, honestly. So they're working in Lat Murray a lot more than I would have thought, but that's just the case there. So he looks a little pricey to me. I think Steph Diggs is, in my opinion, by far the best captain play. So the way Tampa keeps it close in this game, or if you like Tampa, I guess you already talked about it, but it's an ugly game, right? And in an ugly game, a game that's 20 to 14, 20 to 17, Josh Allen and captain's not getting there. It's going to be one of these other guys. It's going to be, Stephon Diggs with a 10 catch for 100 yards and 2 touchdown type game, or something like that. I definitely think
that's most likely for sure.
So if you think Tampa hangs in this game and is covers, even Tony, let's say covers, right? It's 8.5 points, right? Let's say you're betting Tampa. I think it's reasonable for you to be like, I'm going to fade Josh Allen, the captain. I really do. Now, if you like the Buffalo side, I think you should love Josh Allen in the captain, because I think you're saying that the Bills probably put up 30 plus, and Tampa just can't score with teams that are going to do that. I just don't think they can hang if Buffalo's going to put up, 28, 30 plus points in a game. You know what I mean? I think they'll lose, by 9 or 10 in that scenario. So that's the way I see it from there. But I'm definitely going to lean more the Diggs side. I think we've just seen the receivers just for whatever reason this year, they're sticking out. I think it's more too that Josh Allen's not running as much, like you said, when they get down there. And you can kind of see it in the attempts, right,
Does
Tony? I
he
mean,
have
look at
any
the
rushing touchdowns?
he does. Oh, he does.
He
He's
does.
got 4, but the
Oh, he's
attempt,
still got 4. In my head, I would have guessed 1.
so what's
I
funny
mean, if
though
he
is
gets a
like
rushing touchdown, it
he's made.
definitely. I
What's
mean, I don't know, not full mint just because of Diggs, but close to mint for sure.
well, listen
Like
to this
I think
though.
it's pretty safe to say, to your reasoning, if he gets 1 rushing touchdown, he's pretty likely to have a good chance to be up there. And if he doesn't, he probably isn't. I think it honestly is close to that simple with Josh Allen.
Listen to this though. So, okay, these are every game. 6 rushing attempts for 36 yards. That was week 1 against the Jets. You can't run on the well, you struggle to move the ball on the Jets. So I get him having to run a little more. That's a good defense. Next games against Vegas, he ran 3 times for 7 yards. Next games against Washington, in Washington, 3 for 46. Only 3 times. 4 for 17. Next week, 4 for 14, 2 for 11, and 7 for 17. What that tells me is
And the 7 for 17 last week too, just from watching it. I think like 4 of those were just those sneaks, the like tush push sneaks.
tush push. Yeah.
So they're not
Yeah.
even like carries, really. I mean,
Yeah. So what he's doing though, when he rolls out, before he'd be looking to not all the time, instead of rolling out though, kind of going up and through the middle and trying to get out into space to pick up first downs. He's not really looking to do that as much as he normally does, which is interesting to me. But the games where he scores a rushing touchdown, you're right, Tony. Those are the games where he's had the big fantasy performances. The games where he doesn't score are the games where he has the lower fantasy points. So I guess you're right. Like, I guess if he gets in that box rushing once, he's probably going to have a chance to be the number 1 guy there. But for me, I'd rank it Diggs, Allen. I'm with you. I'm not playing Cook in the captain. I think Gabe Davis is viable. He's always viable for like 2 touchdowns. He's just very hit or miss, but that's why I think he's a perfect captain play, because he just is so hit or miss. You know what I mean? He's either catching 100 yards and 2, or he's probably having not that great of a game. But so I kind of like the idea of like captain or not. Dalton Kincaid is cheap, $5K, and he's pretty much a tight end who plays. I mean, he's like a wide receiver almost, really. And I think he's going to get a lot of looks here. Josh Allen likes going to the tight end. He had 8 targets last game against New England. No Dawson Knox, no Quinton Morris, which just means he has to play, Tony. He just has to be out there a ton. And if you're telling me he has to play 80-90% of the snaps, I don't know how we don't like Dalton Kincaid a little bit here. So I think he's a great captain. Kicker captains, I wanted to talk about this with you. Man, kicker captains have burned me this year. They have not treated us well. What are we doing with like the kickers? Because they're like Tyler Bass is 5,400. In my head, he's a good kicker, right? They just haven't like been kicking that many field goals. Like he's only had 2 the last 2 games. The Jacksonville game, he had no field goal attempts. We think they moved the ball on Tampa. What are we doing here with the kickers, Tony?
yeah, I mean, I always like, especially this time of year, I like to game log watch kickers just because I think it matters. It shows teams that kick, that move between the 20s and settle for field goals and get opportunities and stuff like that. So I like to game log watch a ton at kicker. And like Chase McLaughlin, again, like I talked about, if I had to guess his points coming in after I showed the scores to start the show, I would guess he hasn't been a very good kicker before I looked. So I look. His highest game of the year is 10 points, and we're what, 6? They played 6 times. So, I mean, right away, that's tough for me. I don't think Tampa's going to score a ton before I even looked. Now I look, and they don't really move between the 20s all that much because he doesn't have that many field goals. I mean, he's only got 11 field goals in 6 games. Not that many extra points, obviously. So, I mean, I would under project him a little bit, but not take him. I mean, definitely not a captain, but there. And then Bass was really good early with 13, a 15, a 14. But then the last 3 weeks, he's got 9 total points. And we know Buffalo's a team that likes to go for it when they can. I do think Buffalo handles them tonight, though. Just in my opinion, I think they win pretty easy tonight. So if I ever think a team, like say for me tonight, I think my score prediction would be like 30-10 or something is kind of my prediction in that range, because I do think I like the under still, because Tampa just can't move the ball. So if it's 30-10, I mean, that gives me right there 3 touchdowns and 3 field goals. I mean, that's putting him somewhere in the low 12-13 range, which I don't think will hit his captain, and I'm not going to project him for 12 or 13, but if I project him, I mean, around the industry, you're going to see 8, 9 in that range. If I project him for 10, 10 and a half, it's going to hit a bunch of teams. And for me, he's just a perfect utility play where I'm more than happy to have him in my flex spot. It won't be a captain night for me, though, with the kickers, even though I like that move occasionally. When I like that move, it's when I like both teams a lot. Like if you think this game's a shootout somehow and Tampa can keep up with them and score some points and both teams score, then I think you can get it back in the mix of both kickers and get more creative with it. But I don't know. I think this game plays pretty standard tonight, honestly. I don't see anything crazy out there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not playing Baker in the captain. I'm not playing Chris Godwin in the captain. Godwin to me is like the perfect flex play. Like he can get you, 12 to 14. He could be one of the Tampa guys on the winner for sure in like the flex spot. I just don't see the major upside. Mike Evans definitely has the big time upside, I guess. Rashad White seems pricey to me, but he has pass catching upside. Another guy who I wouldn't play in the captain, but I think could find his way onto an optimal just from the flex there, because he's got a little bit of a safer floor in my opinion, just from the receiving threat too, not just the running game. So that's how I see those guys. From Tampa, where was I at here? The 5K range. I agree with Tony on the Tampa kicker. I'll probably be a little lower on kickers just in general, but higher on Bass, lower on McLaughlin, Tampa's kicker. Bills defense, I want to see. So I ran just not touching anything. I just wanted to see what SaberSim kind of spit out for like builds. And just from what I ran, the Bills defense wasn't hitting very much. Now, I don't know if they still need to update it. Their projection's really low right now, so I think I'm going to have to change that. But to me, I think this is a great and I don't know about Tony, but I think this is a perfect game to play defenses because both quarterbacks like to turn the ball over, even Josh Allen. So, like, for me, Tampa Bay's defense, even though I like Buffalo, and even in Tony's script, honestly, where Buffalo wins and handles them, I still think Josh Allen could have 2 turnovers. The guy loves to turn the ball over. Baker Mayfield's thrown an interception in, I think, the last like 3 or 4 games in a row. So Baker loves to, last 4 games, he's had an interception and he's fumbled the ball in 2 of those 4 games as well. So both these guys like to cough the ball up, fumbling or throwing picks. Josh Allen loves to take chances. We know Baker Mayfield will too. That is a perfect spot to play some of these defenses. Maybe not in the captain. I'm not saying like captain defenses. I'm not going to do that. But in the flex, even in my heavy Buffalo teams, I'm still fine with throwing in the Tampa Bay defense there because we've seen it. We saw the Browns get 30 something put on them and be the Millie Maker winner on a main slate, on a friggin' main slate. I'm not even talking Showdown. They were on a Millie Maker winner on a damn main slate, and they got like 38 put on them or whatever it was. So if that don't show you that defense is just crazy random and like, and no matter what the score is, like that defense always has a shot because you just never know the fluky things that can happen, like the Dolphins game where listen, the Dolphins defense was not going to be on the win. Like they weren't going to be on the winner. But then all of a sudden, one guy blitzes, tips that ball right into his teammate's hand, and he just walks into the end zone. And at the price tags that the underdog defense is at, which is kind of similar to Tampa, when they walk in that end zone, Tony, and they get like one other sack or two other sacks, I mean, they're mint. They're the winner. You know what I mean? So I don't know about you, but I love the defenses here. Hopefully the Bills won't be as popular. I don't know what you're seeing though right now.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I always like even when I like the Bills, exactly what you said, where I always like playing that opposite D just because, I mean, let's be honest, if you're playing a ton of Bills tonight, the best possible thing for you could be to throw a pick six the first drive and get down 7 points, and you are just like mortally mint. Once they go up 7-0 and your D's got 8 points locked in that quick, I mean, man, you're in good shape. And I always like it. And you don't need to go crazy with it either in your scripts. You can play like 10% and you're just in good shape, even 15, 20% if you want to be above. But I love it. And the Bills D, I mean, Baker's always been known to turn the ball over and do stuff like that. So I think it's a very good spot.
This can't be right. I got like 5% of both defenses. That can't be right. I'm gonna have to.
It's tough. I mean, you got to bump them for sure with the way and Saber loves some of these Tampa guys for sure. I mean, you can tell with Saber Sim just by the point projection. I ran my 152 just because I was curious, and there's just so much Tampa, like just all the optimals, just Tampa with Josh Allen and Diggs, a little bit of Hardy because he's 1K. But I mean, you got all the way down to, let me sort by percentage. James Cook, 28%, Gabe Davis, 25%, Kincaid, 19%. I mean, it's just not giving us much Buffalo. It's giving all the like Tampa Bay pieces, Evans and Baker and Godwin and Rashad, kicker, all those guys are higher owned than some of these Buffalo pieces besides Allen and Diggs, which I hope that stays that way tonight. I don't think it will because I think that something is skewed with this. But the one thing about Tampa, they don't have like that deep of a team either. So I could see some of the ownership grabbing to these guys and people going 3-3s and 4-2s and stuff like that. Even 4-2. Like my optimal right now is 4-2 Tampa with Diggs and Allen. So I can see people playing that. I know people, Buffalo, love Allen and Diggs, obviously, but the rest of the team is somewhat of a, not to me, I like Buffalo tonight, but to some people, I could see the rest of the team being questionable as far as plays. I could see definitely people going 4-2 Tampa.
You know what's interesting though, Tony, is I kind of understand the Tampa Bay like loaded up in the flex, not the captain, and playing the captain on Buffalo and going that route, because when you look at these Tampa guys, what do you like? What's like one thing that sticks out to you with everybody but Mike Evans? No one really flashes an upside. Like they're flex plays. They're like what we would call cash plays on a main slate. You know what I mean? Rashad White, Chris Godwin, Cade Otton, who he hasn't really done that much, but like he could give you 10, right, Tony? He could get you 10 and be on the optimal at 3K with 10. So. These guys make sense in the flex, and right now too, you got the cheap running backs who are popping, I think, a little bit as well. They got cheap receivers. I know that Tompkins, they've kind of pulled him back a little bit. Trey Palmer's definitely won over that third wide receiver role, but Tompkins is still there. He's 1,600. So you have cheap guys. When you look at all these cheap guys, right? And you can throw in the defense if you want, but I feel like we touched on it. But like after the defenses, or you could add Trey Palmer in there. So like Palmer, Shakir, Cade Otton, Devon Tompkins. I know you love Deontay Hardy. Like, what are you doing with like that range of cheap players?
Yeah, I mean it's tough too because I love Trey Palmer. But man, he's 4,200. That's just, I mean, I like when the cheapies give you a little bit of little bit of risk adherence or whatever the word is for it, where like at 600, you don't need that much from Palmer. You need one catch, a touchdown. But at 4,200, I mean, you're to the point where you need like 14 from him at that price to really get you up in play. And I don't know. I'd rather play Keyshawn Vaughn at just because that price point, 600, Tompkins at 1,600. I mean, there's significant savings to those guys. Cade Otton, I think, is always in play just because tight end, 3K, Showdown, everyone always wants to go there. Even the other tight end, that O'Keefe, just because he's 200. I mean, he's not any good. He's the type of guy where one touchdown would be what you would expect, like 8 points, touchdown, 10 yards, a catch or something. But again, I just don't love the Tampa side. Easy play for my builds is to play like Mike Evans and Keyshawn Vaughn together. I feel like I get a bunch of the offense there and also not that expensive, or Godwin instead of Evans, but one of the good guys, Evans, Godwin, probably not Rachaad White for me just because he's 8K. Even though he could get volume, I'm not going to fade him or anything, but he's going to get dump offs. I just would rather play Evans or Godwin and then a guy like Tompkins or Keyshawn Vaughn, 1,600, 600, all that stuff. So that's where I'm at on the Tampa side. And then the Buffalo side, for me, is just easy. I've liked Hardy all year. Hardy's an even better showdown guy, I think. I mean, he scored a touchdown the last couple weeks, I think, or 2 of the last 3 weeks. Let me pull it up.
I mean, he scored in that Jacksonville slate, right?
So it already
No.
did. So he only scored the one time. I thought he scored twice. In the other game, 2 for 62, though. So he had 7 points and 8 points. Now you have the tight ends out, though, too. So I think he's even more involved with just the dump off game. So I like Buffalo. I think they score, and I like Hardy as a player, especially in Showdown. So for me, he's just clearly the cheap guy, but he's going to be everyone's cheap guy too. Like he's going to be the highest owned cheapie, I'm sure of it, unless I'm missing something. But at 1,000, I mean, the one slate, he was like 50, 60% owned because of the same thing. Like he was cheap. So for me, that's where I'm at. I mean, Ty Johnson's always been a guy that can catch some dump offs and stuff. He's 200. Again, these guys that are cheap on a Josh Allen, Diggs, Mike Evans slate and a quarterback the other way, all these guys are going to be in play for me. Sherfield, Ty Johnson, all these cheapies. So
yeah,
I don't have any clear-cut ones, though, except Hardy. Hardy and Keyshawn Vaughn would be my 2 favorites for sure. But I think they'll be everyone's favorites.
I don't understand the Keyshawn Vaughn thing, to be honest with you. I get he's 600, but they just activated another running back. Rachaad White plays most of this, he gets majority of the work, I would say. I get it's a shorter week, so maybe they work in another running back more. But now they just added one. Are they not going to play Chase Edmonds at all? Like if they play Chase Edmonds at all, it's going to directly affect probably Keyshawn Vaughn's stuff. So I don't really like the cheapies like all the way down there that much. Like people are going to try and make these 200 tight ends work. I don't think you need it. Like you talked about Hardy, Cade Otton at 3K. I think I think they could play more 4 wide receiver sets with Deontay Hardy and Shakir. Shakir actually got a little more work. 4 targets, 36 yards last game, 4 catches. So he is 3,200, so it's a little different, but I do think you can play someone like him, and I think he's going to be really low owned. So he's one guy that I'll look at. I don't really
definitely
like
going to be low owned because of that price.
Yeah, and with 2 tight ends being out, unless you're playing the fullback, Tony, like Reggie Gilliam, I think they do play more. Josh Allen is comfortable with the spread out offense, right? Like spread everyone out, four wide receivers. You got Dalton Kincaid in there, and let him just read the defense and pick them apart. Like I could see a lot more of that on this slate as opposed to the heavy sets they have, liked over time. So to me, it does set up for either Sherfield, Deontay Hardy, Khalil Shakir, one of those guys, one or two of them, honestly, to have like a bump in production. And so I'll be heavier on the cheaper Bills guys, and I'll definitely be under the field on like Keyshawn Vaughn if he's going to be that popular, because right now he's popping a ton. Even when I lower his projection, he's still popping a good amount, which is just crazy to me. So yeah, I'll be lower on that. But Tony, we got to talk a little bit of FanDuel, because I would be not doing my job right
all
if
part
we
of the
did
bit,
not.
baby.
Yeah, I wouldn't be doing my job right if we didn't get a little FanDuel take in here in the morning. A lot of people are confused, Tony. People, are we live right now? People, yeah, we're morning. It's the early morning Thursday night football showdown.
I do kind of
slate.
like shifting it up every once in a while and get in here just to throw people off, do a super easy one or super early one.
Keep everyone on their toes. I woke up confused. Yeah, I think a lot of people did, honestly. I mean, Kurt was in one of our chats like, are we sure the show goes at 7:30? He's like, and me and Tony.
No, he wasn't saying, are we sure? He was making fun of us. He's like, he was all over us, making fun of us.
I don't know why. Yeah, Kurt, we're doing it at 7:30. Tony's got a race to get to, baby. He's got to watch some horses race. Is it Showdown Kings racing, Tony?
Showdown King today.
Is he gonna get it done?
Hope so. If it's not today, I don't think it's coming after today. If it doesn't get the job done today, we got an easier field today.
He gave us we had a high moment with him, Tony, last time we were out there where we were like, and then he just let us down at the end. Like he was coming around.
Definitely not getting my hopes up, but I think today we got a better jockey today too. Our jockey the last two races sucked. My uncle told me that before the last race, and I listened to it. Now we got the best jockey today, so that has to help.
Well, damn it! I should have put my money on the best jockey.
It's gonna be terrible odds today, though. I think we'll go off like 1-2 or something, which isn't good. Okay. Yeah, I mean we're gonna go off with a bad price.
When you got Big Daddy Wiley just throwing all the cheese out. I mean, Wiley's out there
throwing it all out.
Give me 10K on this guy. Give me 5K on this horse. Give me 6K on this. I mean, that dude's crazy.
He did the same thing at the blackjack table. The dude just freaking fires.
Unreal.
That's why he's the prez and we're not.
Right. That's definitely why we're not the prez. He's the prez. But all right. So I pulled up FanDuel here, Tony, and right away you look at the top. And the difference right away between DraftKings and FanDuel, there is a $2,500 difference between Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs. And then it goes, 1,000 drop off to Mike Evans at 14, Baker Mayfield at 13.5. So you got a little difference here in the pricing. What are we doing here with like that top tier? Because that's a big gap with Josh Allen.
Yeah, I mean, so the first thing I always like to do when I'm building FanDuel is just like put in the guys that I know I'm going to want, just to kind of see the price ranges that it leaves me with. Since it's only 5 guys instead of 6 on FanDuel, you can really see where you're getting pushed. And like on this slate, I just know for a fact. And again, you can flip your MVP however on FanDuel because there's no difference just to plan out. So like I know for sure I want Allen and Diggs. No matter what on my FanDuel teams, whether it's MVP or not, that's a different story. But like that leaves you with 91.67 for 3 spots. So immediately, like I'm just looking like if I played Mike Evans, I mean, you're down to 67.50. Pretty tough to do that. Baker, same thing. I mean, James Cook isn't going to be that much in play for me at 12.5. Rashad White, not much at 12. Godwin's a much better play on DK just because of PPR. And then you get into all the guys that I think are in play. I mean, Gabe Davis at 11, you can definitely play. The defenses and kickers, definitely in play on this slate on FanDuel. Cade Otton's a great play on FanDuel at 8K. And then like Dalton Kincaid. So like we talked about on DK, I mean, Dalton Kincaid at 7,500. I mean, like just for example, that to me is like my core for the night. I can even do it on the show because I can almost guarantee that my core looks like this tonight. So since it's early, free show, I'll just give my core on this show. Like Josh Allen, Diggs, Kincaid. leaves you with 10K for 2 spots. I think you can mix and match a million different directions with that 2K or that 10K for 2 spots. Where just say you wanted to play Mike Evans. That leaves you with 6K for everybody, which down in here you got Gilliam, you got Hardy at 6K, O'Keefe, a million options, right? Sherfield. So by giving that core, leaving 10K, you need one Tampa guy, obviously, in the 10K. But you can play Mike Evans, Baker. You can play any Tampa guy, and you can come back and play any other Buffalo dude. So I think that core leaves you exactly where you need to be. And you can mix and match however you want, or you can leave salary even. I think there's so many directions you can go with that core. Just down in the cheap seats, that is always important. You can play. I mean, let's just look down here real quick. Ty
Trey
Johnson's
Palmer,
5K.
7K. Don't forget
Who?
him. 7K for Trey Palmer is like
Yeah,
on
I
there.
mean, that's a great play on this slate. 7K for him. I mean, I kind of like 5K for Ty Johnson, just a hair on FanDuel, just because in a Buffalo script, just because that 5K tag means a lot on FanDuel. It lets you get up to whoever you want.
I like that. What if Buffalo runs away with it? Maybe Ty Johnson gets a little
that's
bit
the
more,
dream with this type of team, and it would let you play Mike Evans too. Which, if I have these 3 plus Mike Evans, I mean, I'm very happy with my team right there. So Chase Edmonds is 5K too. Your boy, actually, I like him better than Ty. Chase Edmonds at 5K.
I mean, Chase could actually play. Like Chase could actually get in the game and play a little bit. Like,
I love it. I mean, I think that literally mints people. Whoever needs FanDuel, like Allen, Diggs, Kincaid, you can literally play whatever you want in those other 2 spots. So, I mean, I think that's all the content people even need for FanDuel today. Honestly, you don't need more than that.
I thought it was perfect. Honestly, when I looked at FanDuel, that would have been my, that would probably be my 3-man core. If I just wanted to throw a twist into it, I think the Tampa Bay defense at 8,500 is a really good play.
What if that's your only Tampa guy? I think that's genius.
I think it could be an interesting team where you just play the Tampa defense with the heavy Buffalo script.
What does it leave you with? It leaves you with
11-5.
So, yeah, you could play Gabe. Like, I love that team.
Yeah, you could play Gabe. You could play the other defense, the kickers.
I think you get in a little bit of trouble with both these, but it could happen tonight. That gives you a better chance to solo or something, though.
I'm just saying, though, both quarterbacks like to turn the ball over. You just, you never know with these type of slates.
It's just tough with only 5 spots where, you needed to play pretty ugly with for 2 of the optimals to be defenses, but. To your point, though, we always wonder how you can solo ship on FanDuel. That's how you can solo ship or get close to it. All you need is a score.
We've seen the Bills play ugly the last 3 out of 4 weeks or something. Like, when was the last time we seen the Bills play good? The Miami game? That was in week 3 or 4? Yeah, 4. So I mean, I don't know. Jacksonville maybe what you know what I mean? Like, we've seen it play ugly for them. Yep. That's just the way I look at it. But anyone else that we missed on FanDuel? I think we talked through everyone on FanDuel. You gave some 5K guys. Deontay Hardy at 6K. You already talked about him. Khalil Shakir 6,500.
There's so many cheapies. I'm actually excited for FanDuel tonight. The build looks so clean.
Me too, because
I don't remember the last time I was more excited for FanDuel.
I think the core is super clean too. Those 3 guys as your core piece right there, and then you just mix and match. I love that. I'm definitely gonna be. I mean, Dalton Kincaid 7,500. He's gonna be on the field all game. He's gonna. That's why I like it,
though. I genuinely think that 3-man core is like a lock. I love those 3.
Yeah, and more we
I'm borderline thinking just play 150 of those 3
of those 3 guys. I could honestly see it if you have enough guys to work it around and stuff like that.
I mean, you'll have to get a little more creative at MVP, play even a Dalton or something in the MVP or something, but we'll see.
Nah, Brandon, only one so far. I'm slacking. I got thrown off with the early time slot show, so I wasn't as prepared with my extra coffees. I should have been though. Edmonds greater than Dusty Vaughn. I mean, they're both kind of dusty, honestly, but I could see it. I could see Edmonds being greater than Keyshawn Vaughn. So wouldn't shock me. Wouldn't
What
shock
worries
me at
me
all.
about Edmonds, he didn't play really the first 2 weeks when he was active, but
Yeah, and
doesn't mean
everyone
anything.
thought he was gonna play, right?
Yeah, and he didn't. I mean, but he's free, so like it doesn't matter. Like it is what it is. We're not acting like he's going to get 37 carries.
I mean, he got 2 carries both games. And what's Keyshawn Vaughn been getting? Like a couple, like 3 or 4, or something like that. It's
sure.
like that's my point, though. So, like, what if Chase Edmonds just plays enough to make Keyshawn Vaughn a bad play too? You know, what if they both just play a little bit and they take away from each other, and it's like neither of them do anything? So that's my thing. I'd be very careful with the cheap running backs. Personally, I'm gonna probably be lower on them, depending on what the ownership looks like. Right now, it seems like they're gonna be pretty high. So that's now. It's 8:45 in the morning. So stay up to date with that. Obviously, guys, if you aren't a member at Run Pure Sports, promo code NBA15 get you 15% off your first month's payment over at Run Pure Sports. Hit the like button. It's an early damn show here. Big T at 7:45 in the morning coming on, doing a show. You don't know
It's the
how
first
hard
time
that
I've set
is.
my alarm in a long time. I'll say that.
Did you really set your alarm?
How the hell else would I wake up?
Well, yeah. Did you set your alarm that time you woke up at 4:30 to bring me to
No, not when I'm doing that. I don't. But when I know I got to wake up and do a show at 7:30, I got to set my alarm.
So you didn't set your alarm when you had to get up at 4:30 to drive me to the airport?
Oh, I set it for when I had to take you to the airport. Yeah.
Oh, I was gonna say, I was like, damn, that's impressive. If you didn't set an alarm for that, that's
if I have to wake up, I'm always setting it.
Yeah. I never set an alarm. I'm always up when I need to be. I've once in like 15 years of me like needing to be somewhere, I still remember the one time I slept through it. And man, you feel like shit when you when you sleep through something like
the
and then you wake up and you're like, oh my God, it's 7:30. Like, what am I doing? But that only happened once in my life. So that hopefully that never happens again. Not a good feeling. But all right, Tony, final thoughts here before we get out of here on this Thursday morning.
Nope, I think we covered it pretty good. Big T definitely faster than Vaughn. I mean, I am undefeated in races, Matty Ice. I think we I think we covered it perfectly though. And another NBA slate tonight too. I think these guys are going to do a SaberSim show later in the day today. I haven't heard back yet from them, but that would be sweet. If they do it later tonight, though, check it out because everyone can see these new features that SaberSim has. And I love it. JSU loves it. Basically, all of our staff has loved it so far with these sims. It's awesome. I believe in it. We put our own twist on it with some of the takes to change some of our projections and stuff. But as far as the overall product, I absolutely love it. So check out that show later today for sure.
Yep. So they'll be doing an NBA show at 4:45, and then hopefully a football show, a SaberSim show after that at 6, talking through all.
If they don't do it at then they'll do it at 11 like normal. But hopefully they do it a little later today. We'll see what they do.
Yep. Well, we'll work on that. And guys, enjoy the football game tonight. Enjoy the hoop slate later on. We'll have all the content up. We'll have you covered. Even though Big T's going to the race, don't you fret. He will bring his laptop
later today for sure. We just didn't have time for the show.
Yeah, he will bring his laptop. He will make sure all the cores, all the winners, the player pools. I might even put my tournament pool up for NBA tonight just because I know that I'm actually on the damn sheet now.
Yes.
So, boss never told me, but I'll do it now, boss. So yes, sir. I will not fail you again. But guys, good luck. Hit the like button on your way out. NBA 15 is the promo code, 15% off your first month.
I'm actually impressed. We got 120 watching this early in the morning. I'm impressed.
People love Big T. People love Big T in the morning. Early Big T is great. Early Big T is great. So I could tell you're fighting hard through it too, which makes me feel even better. I love it. I love it. You're not a morning person at all. Like I love it. Where's your eggs, by the way?
My what?
Amber didn't bring eggs?
I only eat them on. You'll laugh. I actually don't like breakfast. I only eat it on Sundays with football stuff. I never eat breakfast.
You know what's funny? I never eat breakfast either.
Yeah.
Not that I
actually don't like
I just
breakfast.
never eat it.
Yeah.
I'm never hungry in the morning. I just want my coffee. I want to like relax. You know what I mean? Work out, mellow out, and then I like lunch. I'm getting more into the lunch
You don't have
scene.
to
The
tell
more,
me. I love the lunch. Lunch
yeah,
is my favorite.
you are the biggest lunch person I've ever met. You
Yep.
don't miss lunch. That's like
I don't miss any meals. Have you seen this pouch? I got a good
there's two
sized
things
pouch.
you don't mess Big T with. All right, you don't mess with his lunchtime, and you don't mess with his nap time. All right, those two things you stay the fuck away
Get us
from.
freaking out of here. You're killing me. How do I hit this outro?